By God, there's a plot. Y'all remember when Yu-Gi-Oh! Had plot? Like, actual things going on that fed into the bigger narrative as a whole? Y'all remember that? I forgot Yu-Gi-Oh! Could have that. Now, don't get me wrong. We all know I love this show, and I love how fun and lighthearted and character-driven it is, but I'm not gonna lie, having an episode that had, like, greater questions be pushed forward kinda actually was something I missed. Especially after doing the Wonder Egg priority review where they just left questions hanging there till they gave you the worst answers possible. So yeah, yes, I'm not over Wonder Egg priority yet. I will never be over it. But anyways, so yeah, this week we had a lot of shit happen, so we gotta get right on into it. First up, it's tournament day. That's right, everybody. Everyone's favorite time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, drive way too far, only to then have to scramble to get your deck list together, your deck re-sleeved, make sure your side is correct, then get everything handed in, pay your $20, pull nothing good from the packs, then wait an extra 2 hours because they didn't cap the line and let everyone in late. Then you finally start at like 12, 2 hours after the fact usually, only to then scrub out in 2 hours and go home. Tournament day. Am I right, folks? No, so anyways, the crew is at the tournament where we see something that, and I don't know, maybe it's because seeing a rap icon in the form of DMX pass away, I've been thinking lately about, like, kind of legacy and the things we sort of set up and create and how those things kind of get twisted. Seeing, like, the news of a rapper who was such a huge impact for many people. I swear I'm going somewhere with this. But to see, like, a rapper who, like, had a large influence, and kind of how he passes and the reaction to him passing, the reaction amongst many of the old white people I am surrounded by versus the reaction of others. And then to see, like, the reaction of, like, say, a Prince Philip pass away who is such a fucking useless human being. I hate the royal family. But no, what I'm getting at is that idea of, like, legacy and what you create and how often it gets perceived and taken advantage of by others. Yuga created rush duels specifically almost in retaliation to Goha, rather he meant it or not. Specifically to the idea that you have to do everything the way you're told, the regimented way, all these things that you claim you're told you're supposed to do. Yuga's here to tell you and use rush duels to show you, no, you can create your own path and your own goals and your own rules, and that's a better way to live your life than just as you're always told. But in this episode, we see Goha is now taking that and twisting it and turning it into their own tool to continue to perpetuate their ideals. Often how big corporations, when they can't stop a threat, they just kind of try and take the threat and twist it and manipulate it to their rules. If any of you have ever heard the story of Napster and how it led to the creation of the iPod, you know this whole thing. So yeah, that's kind of my weird thing, that this is just kind of what the episode made me think of, that idea of, like, how legacy gets taken and twisted. And Yuga is actually just about to let it all go away. Like, he doesn't want to enter the tournament because that's not his kind of guy. We talked about that last week. But if he does that, if he doesn't try and reclaim what he's created and show people what it's really for, it will be consumed and destroyed, ultimately. That is so much better a motivation for entering the tournament than just, oh, I want to be the best. Or even just some, like, arbitrary, or even some, like, fictional nonsense goal, like, they kidnapped my grandpa's soul and now I gotta save it. No, it's a very real metaphor for legacy and what society does to that. So yeah, that was my kind of weird way of thinking about that. So then we go, and they run into Mimi. I think it's really funny how Yuga and crew just always know it's her. Like, no lies, no anything, just like, oh hey, what are you doing? And then she immediately blows her cover, which leads to Yuga and crew realizing that, no, the tournament was not started by Goha, it's started by somebody else, and that's kind of a thing we've got to figure out. I love that. No overly long, drawn-out waiting till people learn shit. Like, learn shit now. It is a much better way to run your story. Isn't that right, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5? So yeah, so anyways, after that, we get to the big tournament registration where Luke, of course, calls his team Team Luke Kings. Because what else would he call it? I love that name. Oh god, if we ever get YCSs again, like, that's what I'm making my team name us at the next Team YCS. I'm doing it, damn it. So anyways, then we run into the Machine Cavalry Club, and they are in trouble because Asuna can't enter because she totally has a fever. Ain't it great we don't have to go along with this fever thing? Like, by the end of the episode, you're like, okay, this is what she's up to. This is why I love this show. And so they want the bird to enter, but no, the bird can't enter, which is such a crying shame, because we all know the bird is Bakura. I'm not letting this go. So anyways, so yeah, they take the team, so then they're like, we need a third. Yuga, be our third. I love how when Luke comes to, like, revelations in these 2 episodes, it's not spoon-fed to you. He doesn't give a big speech. You just see, like, him having to go through the acceptance of things, like, on his face, you know, using visuals and the barest of minimum of noises. That is such a great thing that we just don't get enough of. Like, him just having to realize, I don't want Yuga against me, but it's for the best. And, like, that's so different from what you expect. Yuga's with these 2 random side characters. I assumed he'd just be with the other major characters, but, like, nah, put him with these 2. Why? Why the fuck not? So then Otis shows up, and oh my god, this duel was fun. Otis shows up, and he's obviously there to tell Yuga, you know, what I just said, like, you gotta get your legacy back. You gotta fix things. But so then, like, it's like, okay, if you want the answers, we gotta duel for it. And I assumed Otis would use some kind of, like, Blue Eyes thing or something like that, but, like, nah, we got a true taste of OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta, boys. That's right. For those of you who don't remember, because you were wee little babies. Wait, you guys probably were babies. This game's around long. God, I'm old! No, so anyways, like, back in the day of Legend of Blue Eyes format, like the OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Before GOAT format, Summon Skull was, like, one of the best cards in the game. A 1 tribute for 2,500 attack. Now, to give you an idea, they wanted us to believe that 2,400 for 2 tributes was a good idea. It wasn't. You played 3 copies of Summon Skull, and if you wanted to go full-on aggro, 3 copies of Judge Man, you used your 7 colored fish. This is how you actually played Yu-Gi-Oh! It was never actually what people think, where there was this golden time where you could just play your dumb pack filler cards. Like, no, there was always meta. There was always cards that were actually good and efficient. But so anyway, so then the duel happens, and it's a lot of fun seeing, like, Otis use, like, an actual strategy revolving around a boss monster. Yuga, of course, busts out some new cards, and what's interesting is that everyone is just kind of like, well, maybe he didn't make rush duels, maybe this, maybe that. And Otis, again, brings up that idea of, like, legacy. Like, it will go away if you don't do something. And again, that's Yuga's motivation. Yuga's lesson here is that, no, you do have to take advantage of things. You can't just be like the guy in the corner, like, screwing around with shit. You have to take advantage of the situation. And that is why Yuga is able to win. And it was a fun duel. And then the cops come and take Otis away. Also, I love the bit where Luke thinks it's a hologram and the bird proves him wrong. Again, man, the bird knows all. The bird. So anyways, so then, like, so then the duel's over, and they register on the team. We didn't see their team. I assume it's just the Machine Cavalry Club. It doesn't matter. So then Yuga and crew go off to registration. I like seeing Yuga ride on the back of the machine. That was just kind of a funny little image. And then the final shot is more members of Goha are striving for power, because as we've established, Goha are not an intelligent threat. Their danger just comes from being power hungry. Again, kind of an interesting little parallel to the real world. And then, of course, you know, final shot, Asuna and crew are going to figure out what's happening. I assume she'll come back into it eventually, but that was really cool. And that was this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's. A lot happened. Didn't expect to talk so much about the legacy thing, but the more I think about it, the more I think there is a lot of interesting themes at play here, and stuff you... basically, I'm just saying, I think the show is smarter than people give it credit for. But yeah, so that was that. And as for the TCG question of the week, I can't believe I forgot about this. But yesterday, I think the day I recorded the video, actually, Nats was canceled. I believe it was supposed to also be held in Orlando, like last year, but we ain't getting it. And realistically, even though, look, I got my vaccine, so I was ready for it. it wouldn't be right to bring it back right now. It's still not stable for most places to hold regionals. And the thing is that competitive stopped at like beginning of March last year, right when it was getting serious and when most people get their invites. It wouldn't be fair to everyone who didn't have a chance to get their invites, which is most people, to all of a sudden hold Nats when so many areas won't be able to still do anything for a potentially long time. So I think it was the right decision. I am glad, though, my invite will carry over to 2022. So we go into Nats next year, hopefully, please, dear God. But again, in the comment section below, are you okay with this? Do you think they should have tried something? Do you think there was a middle ground? Or do you think just canceling it was the right call? I think ultimately, yeah, it was the right call. But that's just me. Tell me that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week where I promise we won't talk about how much I hate the royal family. Okay, maybe a little.